Okay, YouTube, take two. I had a coughing fit in the middle of that, and I don't break my stuff up how I should. So, we're in the Division 2. We're doing a chassis build. What is a chassis build? I have 3 of the same pieces on it, 2 improvised pieces in a Ninja Backpack, and then I'm throwing various other pieces on. This first thing is going to be for those times you get in a group that, they have all the directives on and you can only start using a pistol to get ammo. That's what this build is. This build has an IA piece, 2 pieces, and 1 piece DH. That gives you a combined total of 80% increased damage on your pistol. Now, the negative is you have all yellow, so your 6-tier level. 6-tier yellow, so you get maximum damage on the yellow. So your reduction is another 60% because you don't have the reds on it, right? So you're just getting the attributes of the armor. You're not getting the 60% all red. There's tons of variation on improvised gear. The main reason you have improvised gear is because you have mods, because you're putting on yellows, you're putting reduction, 11% or 12% reduction on yellows. You're running in their survival build, so that gives you another 10%. So you're getting between at least right around 70% damage reduction to yellows. So that means you focus on purples first and then on reds. If you have a stacking, if you need to do striker or you have true patriot, any other, even if you have, I forget the name of the one that you headshot them in it, any of those, you just, once you get a yellow, you build up on yellow because you're going to kill things pretty fast. Because not only are you getting the weapon damage, you're getting the technical damage from the turret and the drone. Why don't I go all red or all blue? Because the yellow gives you most functionality. You can be in any group. You can change in a second, and you're all set up. If you're doing legendaries, you need to have that damage reduction on the yellow. So it's a good, you could be in a group in Legendary. I've run groups in Legendary with these side builds other than Refractor, but you got to have someone healing then. And when you're in a Legendary, you're eventually going to just realize how powerful you are, that you're going to, it's hard not to play a Legendary with Refractor. Give you an update. I'm a big vial jammer. It's been slightly nerfed a little bit, but I was with a group the other day, a lower level group. They were in the last stage of Tidal Basin, and we wiped 2 or 3 times, and they didn't know what they were doing. And eventually I just put on not my best vial jammer build. My best vial jammer build is where I got blues on it. It's pretty tanky. I put it on with a high skill haste, and I just put out a decoy, and I vial jammed, and we made it through then. Because I could knock the dogs down and knock the drones down. It still gives the damage over time, but you can't just keep spamming it like you used to. It's okay, YouTube. Still super viable. I don't know if it'd be my first choice. It's when you're healing everyone. But I've been in some groups where, I think I showed you that the other day. I was in a group with Refractor, and some people you just can't reach. If I knew that Cool Hand Luke quote, man, that's where I would put it in there. Maybe I'll put that. If I'm smart, YouTube, I'll put that in the video. This video is going to be a little bit longer, so I finished this first one. The next build here is going to be, I think this is going to be my striker build. No, this is ongoing directive. Sorry, YouTube. Ongoing directive's a little bit tougher because you need to put a status effect on someone, and then when you hit them, when you have the striker build gear on, then it will set them up that if you kill them, then you'll get bleed ammo. And then once you get it started, it's pretty good. So here you're going to see I change out my drone to the Hive. The Hive puts on a bleed, and that will allow me to use that to start the ongoing directive. And once you get, I'm using Pestilence with this here. On a lot of these builds, it makes sense to use a high ammo holding weapon, usually an LMG. Blue Streak, Pestilence, Alorando. I know I'm not saying that right. So what's the main purpose of this build? Your defense against yellows. That means, of course, yellow weapons, but even any of their grenades or their, mortars or any of their stuff, it's yellow, so it doesn't hurt you. Imagine when you're going against rogues. So if you're in the summit and you're climbing up and you have rogues, or you have rogues in here, if you have this build, the rogues aren't anything. Additionally, if you have something like the refractor, then the refractor is healing you too. But I make pretty short work. To get all this stuff in here, I've had to put everything on 2.5, and there's one section that's on 5 times speed because it's legendary. And again, you got the skills. So you have a skill for close-in defense, and then you have drones to go out and get people, plus you have your machine gun. So it's a really easy build to solo. All these builds, I mainly solo with all this stuff. Sometimes it's good in groups. What I like to give you is that I complete the mission. I'm always a little reluctant on someone that shows me snippets and they don't show me that they're on heroic and they say, this is the greatest build. I'm not a real big build guy, but these are since they've kind of nerfed File and Jammer together, this kind of build is pretty much the best. This is my striker build now. Going out, sorry, that went by fast. Oh gosh, that was the end of the striker. This is a true patriot. I should have just, I'm showing you stuff. This is a true patriot. The striker will be coming next. So I think in this build I just used I run into the striker. I should have deleted that part. That wasn't going anywhere. All right, what does it say we're at? Yeah, this is the true patriot. The other thing about using technology, using a drone or a turret, is that it acts as another aggro source. So I want you to think about the game in terms of who should I attack? When the game says who should I attack? It's going to attack the most threatening object. Well, if you have a drone and a turret in you, that can help reduce your aggro. If you're in a group and you have that stuff, there's a lot of times you can pick someone up because you have these two pieces of technology increasing the aggro on the technology, not you. So in a lot of the refractor videos I've been showing you, I can go up forward because I'm launching a drone and I have a turret. So here I'm pushing the spawn point. I'm waiting for the boss to come out. When I made my Liberty, I made my Chatterbox. That's the name of it. I can't remember the name of it right now because I'm old and senile, YouTube. And it worked out nicely. Made me think why more people don't use it, but it's like a lot of the OG stuff, True Patriot, Chatterbox. There's so much new stuff. It's nice to use new stuff, and that's what if you have to make build videos constantly, you don't go back and say like how great Chatterbox is. I've not gotten a Scorpio on this character yet, so you don't see me. Usually that's my bread and butter. I'm watch level 555, right around there. My expertise is over 12 now, and that's really, once you get to 12, you can get everything up to 12 relatively easy. So the next thing I would tell you, after you get your technology, your turret, and your drone up to level 12, then I'd work on getting your improvised armor, because that's part of your chassis, and your Ninja Backpack to 12, right? So that's going to give you increased armor, and then you're going to slowly work on your favorite build. For me, my favorite My most utilitarian, not my favorite. My most practical build is a refractor. It's just guaranteed to not die. And if you haven't had a chatterbox almost seems when you go on killing streaks, you have unlimited ammo. That's how it feels. And I ran out of ammo. All right. So I think now you're going to see the striker build. All right. Yeah, we're going to need to get the striker build. Boy, I wanted to go to that call for backup, but I didn't. YouTube. Making this video for you today. This is a great weapon because it builds up stacks. I was going to use blue streak, but it's like only like close to 900 RPM. This is like 1267 or something. So we want to build our stacks as fast as possible. Then it makes you a monster because then you have pretty decent damage and it's buffed all the way, and you have a drone and a turret doing damage. So you're just putting out all kinds of damage all over the place. And that's what the build looks like. See, in this case, I don't have the glove. I don't think when I built this originally, my striker build, I didn't have a holster. So that's why it's a little bit different. Why have a chassis? I don't have to carry as much stuff, and I have a wild variety of different gear sets it can run in that are all effective. If I'm in a group that has a couple of strikers, we don't need a third striker. How about ongoing directive? Let's say I have strikers, heals, and everything else. Maybe I have a true patriot to mark them with the buff and debuff kind of stuff. Maybe we need a little more DPS. Maybe I have the ongoing directive. I'm in a group that just has a pistol. We're just going around getting supplies. Maybe we're ambushing resupply people, whatever. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. You got the pistol build. And if you go to a legendary, which you can see, then you can use the refractor. But you're not going to have, you're going to have maybe 50 pieces in your base gear set, not 100. And then you're going to be able to get more gear, so you don't have to, spend time burning gear, looking at gear. Because this is a looter shooter, right? So you're getting loot. So the smaller your kit is, the more loot you can get, the more diversity you have, the more you're going to succeed, right? The point in all of this is I'm doing XP per hour, I'm getting loot per hour. So the longer I'm alive, I can get more loot, I can play more game, etc. I run a lot of legendaries, which you're going to see, where people die all the time. And they have high levels, and they just die because they don't know how to play the game. And you're going to get that today, YouTube. And again, we're sorting priorities, purples first, but then yellows to build stacks. I'd kill a purple first, and then I would get the yellow to build the stacks. Ran out of ammo. That gun goes through ammo like crazy. When I'm in a group and I know the section I'm in is not going to have ammo for a bit, I will be a little judicious on how I use that weapon. Maybe I'll have another weapon. And then when I know I'm getting ready for the end of the encounter, then I will just whip it out. Sounds like a Ted Nugent song. YouTube. I'm from Michigan, Detroit, so otherwise. So that's the chassis part of the build. Ninja Backpack, 2 improvised pieces. And now we go into a legendary. And this is at 5 times. I go into the legendary. Look, there's 2 people down already. Right? Charlie Foxtrot. But I'm in refractor, so when my 2 pieces of gear, when my turret and my drone do damage, I'm going to heal everyone. And I'm also trying to improve my expertise on everything. Common mistake, I know it's so fast you can barely see it, but a common mistake is, and these guys keep going down nonstop, right? Nonstop. And they keep getting surrounded. And the middle guy there is a level 2500 on the watch, and he goes down a lot. The other two are lower watch level players. So I'm like maximum protection here. I'm going to the back. You know, you're shaping the battlefield a lot of times. And I was just crossbowing that guy up crazy. So you're going to see we run into this time and time again. So I play a little more defensive. I told you before on a couple of other videos, I threw it up there on the tent. I didn't reach the crown of the tent, which I could have got both sides. So that was a bad throw, but I'm going to try to start putting it up there. Normally I run up to the top and put it on one of those crates up there, but a lot of times, you know, I've wiped a couple times doing that because other people aren't doing anything. We'll eventually slow this down when we get into the meat and potatoes. And again, going to elevated positions in legendary are bad unless you got stuff. I play this whole thing. I don't have the revive hive. So, and I don't have unbreakable. Like normally I have unbreakable. So you've got to think about that at times. So I'm just playing more conservative. And the time to kill that you're going to be by not being conservative, the time to kill is not much more. When you go down, then we change our focus from doing damage to picking you up. Again, chassis build, and I've started throwing my turret up there because it will get up on the upper level. Chassis build, key to all this is Ninja Backpack. You could run some of these with a 4-piece screen and 2-piece improvised. Of course you could. But what's interesting about using the Ninja Backpack, you could throw on a couple of pieces of, oh boy, YouTube. There's some gear that will give you like 2.5% armor regen. If you throw 2 pieces of that in your green, change them to yellow, throw them in there. These red pieces, then you will get 2.5% regen all the time. So it just gives you a lot of flexibility. In the start of this, it's too fast, you can't see it. I didn't throw my stuff out right away because I wanted to see, it's a pretty decent group. So like we did okay here. That's a kind of an easy fight. This whole fight seemed kind of easy. It's on legendary, but it didn't seem like it was on legendary. Now, here's where I'm going to slow it down, YouTube. So now I've slowed it down to 2.5. This guy says, hey, follow me to the right. I'm not following them anywhere because they've died constantly. So I go to the left, throw my stuff out. That's a bad throw. And look how fast they all die to the right. Why are we going to right? Where are we going to right? Can you explain it? They're all down. No, YouTube, no. So here's the problem you have in these games always. This guy comes back over to us, but he should come back over to me, but he doesn't. He goes down again. I know he can't get back up, so I'm going to go try to res him because it's impolite for me just to sit there and I could survive the rest of the day. He goes, go to the right again. I don't show you that again. Go to the right. And I say, no. And I say, laugh out loud, no. Guess what our buddy does? The highest level watch guy here. He thinks he's carrying us, YouTube. And there we go. Our buddy's gonna quit the team. So I stop worrying about leveling up my expertise. I get as much damage as I can get, and I'm going to heal. The first guy goes out and dies. I can't pick him up right away, so we're going to stay here. This guy does a great job. He's a lower level guy. Oh, we all die. So now we're just going to 3-man. Well, YouTube, this is normally when I say, it was nice knowing you. But YouTube, we're not going to let some level 2500 watch guy prove he was right. So we go back at it. This guy finally figures out to get inside here with me. Now, this part's slightly easier because we're 3-manning it. A friend of mine, not a friend anymore, acquaintance, a guy I used to play Division 2 with, he'll do some videos where he 2-man stuff, legendaries, but it's 2-man, so it's not like a 4-man. Why, Ronin, do you have that reduction build? Because then when the chungas come around and they're putting their bleed on me, it's not that much because I got 70% reduction to their stuff and I'm healing like an MF. So that's why you do that. Gotta kill purples, gotta kill reds. And I'm providing healing to everyone in the group, and that guy's gonna go down. What's the negative about this type of refractory healing versus just traditional healing? I'm not putting out any heals. I'm only, when I damage, do I put out heals. So let's say you want to be the healer for your group. With this yellow build, if they were still sucking, you would just equip the chem launcher for heal, and then you'd, I'd say the healing hive, and you'd be unstoppable for healing. You're putting out all this damage. You're putting out a ton of damage. You're putting out a ton of healing. So sometimes in Refractor, the drone goes out a lot. So you don't get as enough, healing from that. So sometimes I use the I use the hive for that. I eventually tell the guy in chat, hold on, I'll be there in a second. I'm waiting for everything to thin down. I'm checking the radar. And really what I'd want is a decoy in this part. Again, I'm tier 6 yellow, so my decoy is going to last longer. Everything you do with the skill is going to be better. So the decoy is just going to be better. Your turret's going to be better. So I go get him up, and then we take care of business, YouTube. So that's the chassis build. 3 main pieces, and you can put whatever you want on it. It reduces the amount of gear you have to take with you to have this variety to do all this different stuff. Having high technical stuff gives you a whole access to that whole part of the game. It's great for something like the District Union Arena where you got to blind the guy, or you want to shoot the chem launcher and put him in the mud. It's just very versatile. So this is Ronin Kaze, chassis build, YouTube, and it's a Saturday. Bye, YouTube.